During the events of God Valley, we get a glimpse of an early version of Dragon's character, and honestly, it's pretty wild, because even though he pulled off some heroic moves, like saving baby Shanks and Shambrok from the celestial dragons, he wasn't anywhere near the powerhouse we know him as today. Back then, Dragon was just a weak, anxious soldier, scared, uncertain, and clearly not in possession of a devil fruit. But here's where things get interesting. That detail actually opens the door to a logical explanation for how Dragon gained his strength later on. It might just be that Dragon ate his devil fruit from the treasure chests that were originally prepared as prizes for the Holy Knights, the ones competing to rack up kills among the God Valley villagers or the enslaved people. Now, because of the chaos caused by Rox and Roger's crews flipping the script on the celestial dragons, the Knights had to focus on protecting them instead. And that shift created the perfect opportunity for other players to sneak in and get their hands on those prizes. That's how Kaido ended up with the Azure Dragon fruit, and Kuma got the Pawpaw fruit. So what about Dragon? Well, it seems like he also seized the moment, while carrying Shanks and Shambrok, desperately trying to get them away from the bloodbath between pirates and knights. He had nowhere safe to hide them, except those chests. Imagine this, he opens one, planning to stash one of the babies inside, but instead finds a devil fruit. In that life or death moment, with chaos everywhere, he eats it, maybe without even realizing what it was. His only focus was keeping those kids alive. And this theory lines up perfectly with the idea that Dragon, Kuma, and Ivankov all crossed paths that day. Kuma also ate from one of those same chests, while Shanks and Shambrok might have ended up being hidden inside the empty boxes after the fruits had already been eaten. Now, when it comes to the origin of those devil fruits, the popular belief was that they had been stolen from the Rox pirates. But with the latest chapter, things start to look a lot different. The real reason Rox showed up at God Valley wasn't for the fruits at all. It was to rescue his wife and his son Teach. Meanwhile, the rest of the pirates were there for Shaki. That makes the idea of the fruits being tied to Rox way less convincing, and instead points to the world government as the real source. In fact, it's very possible that the government had seized these fruits from the island itself and then repurposed them as prizes for that twisted tournament. And if that's true, then we're talking about fruits that likely trace back to the ancient world, fruits with enormous value for the story's future, and a direct link to the Void Century. Even the island's name, God Valley, along with the presence of the mysterious D-clan there, are massive hints that connect it to ancient history. This also explains why Emu has been so obsessed with erasing God Valley from existence, until Garling Figureland stumbled upon it by accident. And here's where fate comes into play, a recurring theme in One Piece. It's not impossible that even the Nika fruit itself was once hidden on this very island, not necessarily discovered by the government or placed in a prize chest, but perhaps left behind as a secret inheritance by the island's king. Just like how Harold, the king of Elbaf, preserved a legendary fruit tied to the ancient world, which his son Loki later inherited. So when you put it all together, God Valley starts to look less like a battlefield and more like a treasure vault of forgotten legacies. Kaido got his strength there, Kuma devoured his fruit, and Dragon himself may have bonded with a mythical Zoan perfectly suited to the destiny he would carve out as the world's greatest revolutionary. And with what's been revealed in Elbaf, it's clear now that Loki's fruit can't be seen as just another power-up. No, this is a legendary fruit, directly tied to the Nika fruit. Both trace their origins back to the ancient world, and share a deep connection with the Void Century. That link between Loki's fruit and Nika makes it completely logical to think that Dragon's fruit could also be a mythical Zoan preserved in God Valley. Remember, that island wasn't just some battlefield. It was home to a hidden legacy that the world government has been desperately trying to erase. If Nika embodies the will of freedom, and Loki represents another forgotten force of the ancient world, then it's not a stretch to imagine Dragon's fruit also carries a meaning rooted in that same legacy, a power that mirrors his revolutionary spirit and foreshadows his role as one of the pillars in the war to come. And suddenly, the picture becomes complete. God Valley wasn't just the site of a clash, it was the birthplace of three legendary powers destined to reshape the balance of the world once the final conflict begins.